now Chiara Vecchiato talking about the program Interreg Italy-Slovenia 21-27. And before this content, I would like to draw your attention for the project that will be soon introduced. So please be all ready to present your project here on stage.
Skupaj z mano imeli svojo predstavitev na odru Nanoregion Technology, Arte, Immunocluster e Costrain. Mi rivolgo anche ai rappresentanti.
So there are several the representative of Immunoclusters. Can we have a representative of this project? Please come to the front.
Projekta Immunocluster nas javi ob pultu naše režije. Buona continuazione.
Un caro saluto anche da parte mia, sono Chiara Vecchiato.
Good morning on my behalf. My name is Chiara Vecchiato. I've been working for this program for many years.
Questa mattina desideriamo darvi una panoramica scusa. Mi ha chiesto di spostarmi. Ho preso il microfono così seguo anche le slide che vi presentiamo.
Okay, here I am again, also presenting a few slides. So this morning I'm here to briefly introduce the program Interreg Italy-Slovenia. This afternoon we will go into more details of the future opportunities, since already quite soon there will be new calls, new invitations. There will be a lot coming to us. I'm not sure whether I have to wait for Laura Comelli or whether I can start on my own. Anyway. Simply to tell you that we've been here for a long time, so the program has the dates 21-27, but we are in 2022, and the managing authorities and member countries have always worked very hard already since the end of 2019. Everything has been followed by the programming task force with representatives of the managing authority of the program, and then the two member countries, Italy, both centrally and locally, and the Republic of Slovenia. We started working with the task force end of November 2019, and then the latest task force actually gathered on September 12th, a few days ago. 30 meetings of the task force and a lot of written work, very fast written work, we have come to today. So the prerequisite for taking part in the program, besides strategic orientations and the thematic orientations that we put under the program, we also looked very much at the environment. So we had to take into account the strategic environmental assessment, and everything started in 21 and finished just shortly before the beginning of the program at the European Commission, and we thank them very much, the Commission in Brussels, because they were very helpful. They were on our side. They helped us very much, and they were very fast in approving the program. So this programming process has not always been easy. Of course, you have to take into account the interest of two member countries, which is not necessarily very easy, and then all the legislation of the European Commission, the legislative framework for the programming, and documents that arrived in the mid-2021. But luckily for us, we had started working much earlier, and we are here very lucky that we can introduce the program. The slides are part of the proceedings and will remain available also on the website of the program. So I can also be pretty quick because you can look at the slides at a later stage. Everything has already been published, the program and the annexes, after the approval of the European Commission in the site of the program 21-27 under the heading Program. So everything that I'm saying to you will remain available and very well explained and detailed. There's also a technical document that has to do with indicators. We know that for those taking part in projects, the performance indicators, output indicators are fundamental, and you find this both in the program and in the technical document that guided us in this preparatory phase. And you can also find the entire strategic environmental assessment, because in the first invitations and calls that will soon be published, be ready for that. And of course the focus on the environmental protection is always present. There are always environmental aspects in the call that have been requested to us in this phase of the strategic environmental assessment. Now, let me continue pretty quickly, simply to tell you that these are all the meetings and the decisions that have been taken by the task force in the period 2019-2020, and then in 21, and then in more recent months in 22, quite a few meetings. Let's remain on this slide, please. So during the negotiations, we attempted to involve the territories and the communities in as much as possible. It has already been recalled that there had been a first public consultation. Results of that consultation have been analyzed and then formally adopted by the programming task force to come up with the objectives. A second public consultation, which was published on the website, followed in the subsequent years. So the first consultation was to understand the interest of the communities, so what was considered as the main challenges for our territory and community, and which would be the possible policy objectives, the most interesting. In the second consultation in 2021, we entered into more details for the types of actions, starting from the identified objectives, which actions could be of greater interest for the communities. These elements are all available under the topics in the operational program. The red line in the middle of the slide, well, the program was presented to the European Commission at the end of March, beginning of April. Then we had a negotiation phase on the program because the Commission, of course, they made their own remarks and requests, and the program has then been definitively presented in July. But the task force has been working relentlessly until a few days ago, because we have always been aware of the technical difficulty of the lengthiness of the process, and we wanted to come up with a finished product, and we realized that it was important to work right from the beginning on calls and invitations and things that will be given to the communities. And indeed, yesterday there was the first meeting of the monitoring committee, which will continue the work of the task force and will become the decision-making body of the new program 21-27. Anyway, in this first the beginning of life of the task force throughout the summer until the beginning of the autumn. Next slide, please. So the task force, we have been working very hard on calls, invitations, manuals, rules to be then presented to the territory and community. This is a summary of the decisions that have been taken every time. I mentioned the two first public consultations and those related to the program. Other public consultations took place with reference to the strategic environmental assessment, so those with an environmental interest have been contacted with the cooperation of the DGs that work in the environmental sector in Friuli, Venezia Giulia, Veneto, Slovenia. And the second red line has to do with this involvement of the local communities and territories. This is a very technical slide, all the timings of the decision, all the planning, simply to say that what is then given to the public, let's say, is not visible, but there's been a lot of hard work behind it. So just for the environmental strategic assessment, which has been organized in line with European and national legislation. All of this is being coordinated also in the cross-border area. And I think we can say that we have all been very, actually, good. We did a good job. We did a good job in carrying out this important step. Otherwise, the program would not have been approved in speedy times. Next slide. As I told you, you can find the program available on the website. In these few lines here, you can see that the innovative choices for the program 21-27, and I pointed to the three most important points in terms of innovation and interest for our territory. So from the top, the establishment of a small projects fund, so the strategic importance of the initiative European City of Culture, Gorizia Nova Gorizia, and also we made reference to the experience of AGTC Go, and they will continue organizing the program on the objective 4.6, tourism and culture. And there will be a fund for small projects. So in line with the European regulation, there are funds available, and this will be managed as sole beneficiary on the part of the AGTC Gorizia. So the AGTC will launch calls for small projects within this fund. Now, please stay on that slide. Thank you. Secondly, just like in 1420, there will be strategic projects, but the difference compared to the previous programming that is going to an end, the difference is that the content of the strategic project have already been identified during the programming phase with the help of the European Commission, and hoping that this project, not just them, of course, play a vital role with reference to the communication of our territories, to underline and that what European funds can do for our territories and communities in sectors that have a direct impact on the life of citizens. Out of these strategic projects and out of the initiatives that will soon be launched, that will be discussed in the afternoon, out of the some are listed here. Thirdly, the financing of people-to-people actions. In the last two programming periods, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't have this opportunity. Maybe something goes back to 2000, 2006, but already in the program you can find references for minimum budget, maximum budget, and possible sectors for these people-to-people, which can only be presented on a specific aspect of the program. Next slide. This is the summary table for every program objective. You see you see in the left 1, 2, 4, and 1. So policy objective 1 has to do with innovation, so a more innovative Europe. 2, greener Europe, environment. So, and in the second aspect, of course, you have the safeguard of the environment, biodiversity, green infrastructure, lower the emissions, etc. The number 4 stands for a social Europe or more social, and the specific objective is 6, that has to do with culture and tourism and social innovation. I didn't read the official names of the specific objectives, but you will find them in the program and in the slides. And then the last on the list, ISO 1, it is dedicated to Interreg, so a better governance of cooperation here in the cross-border region, so a better governance and cooperation between public administrations to overcome the classical hindrances of cooperation related to bureaucratic problems, linguistic problems, etc. In part C, the second specific objective of ISO 1, it will be possible to organize the projects people to people. Then something that maybe I have mentioned already. Now I don't remember who this morning was talking about the importance of the bottom-up projects. These bottom-up projects, now besides the strategic projects, they have to do with all of these aspects. So the first call will be on capitalization. And as our Commission desk officer was saying, we can only hope that thanks to this call, we will have a great impact on our territory and concrete results. So hopefully, this will have an impact on products and outputs that have already been achieved during the project Italy and Slovenia in the period 14-20, hoping to strengthen them further, to share them, disseminate them, made them known in the territory. So capitalization is indeed a moment of it can be considered a bottom-up project. And then again, quickly, the first strategic objective will be based on an invitation that will be launched very soon, and also the one covered by the EGTC will be the first initiative to be published under the program. And then for the first standard calls and the people-to-people, everything will start in 2023. And then there are specific timings and schedules in 22 for the rest. I cannot give you too many indications, of course. If you are interested, you can certainly ask questions. So these are the three strategic projects that we mentioned yesterday and that are identified both for content, action and partnership are clearly identified in the operational program and in the annex, which outlines the content of the three strategic projects. As you can see here, two of these are under the specific objectives: safeguard of biodiversity, environment, and green infrastructure. So Karst 2, which is an old timer, because we've been working for so many years on this program. This project will be led by the Slovenian side. Then we have the Poseidon project led by region Veneto, and then another project led by Friuli Venezia Giulia by the DG, our DG at the Friuli region, called Adrio Cyclone Tour. It will be the first to be launched, and this project has been identified by the committee for the EUSAIR strategy, and it belongs to the regional macro strategies and for innovations mentioned earlier by the representative of the Italian government. No, okay, this is we've already seen. Next. So this was to give you an idea. This slide is a bit too overcrowded actually, but it is more for the specialists. But the context has a great impact on the territory. The program is ready. So we have procedures ready in the first column in blue. So, and I was telling you earlier, we still need some fine-tuning, but the procedures that will soon be launched are an invitation for strategic plans, the capitalization, and the small project fund. And now when we did the game with Slido and we saw the results on the screen, many people mentioned better simplification. Of course, this is not only your wish, but it's especially our wish. And I can only hope that there will be more and more simplifications also adopted in the calls for the fund, for the small projects fund, and also in other sectors. So this is to give you a general view, a general idea of all that has been done so far and of what we are ready to do from now on, and to work with you as beneficiaries of this community funding for the Italy-Slovenia Interreg. And now I can give the floor to Laura if she wants to add anything to what I've said so far.
Chiara, grazie.
Thank you very much, Chiara. I think you have been complete, and you've provided us with evidence of all that has been going on in our offices. Certainly, we've been working hard, and there's a lot of work that does not become evident, so you end up seeing pieces of paper, documents, and it's hard to understand that there's a lot of hard work behind those papers. Now, so thank you for the introduction and the general explanations, and everything is available on the website, but there are a few elements on the start of the programming period. We said the program was approved on August 4th and September 12th, first meeting of the task force. We also said that yesterday there was the first meeting of the new monitoring committee. The Interreg regulations stipulate that after the approval of the program on the part of the European Commission, the member countries in agreement with the Commission must set up a monitoring committee within 3 months. So, meeting 4th of August and monitoring committee in September. The monitoring committee is made up of 45 members. 14 are full members with voting rights, and the others are deputies belonging to the economic and social partners. So a lot of organization behind that has been set up and that has come up with replies in very quick times during the holidays. Apparently nobody was on holiday this year because we were all able to work and decide. What did the committee decide yesterday? Well, we decided that all the work done so far by the task force is an excellent work. There are still micro elements that have to be fine-tuned from a technical point of view. That's fine, but the publication of the calls will arrive quite soon. We can expect for October, I would say. And the same is true for the invitation for the strategic project, but and then we have neglected a few elements that were discussed yesterday, so the start of new strategic projects. Anyway, our commitment as staff of the managing authorities and secretariat and the commitment of the monitoring committee is to guarantee that this strategic work, this programming work, will lead to something concrete in 2022, so that then in 2023 we can work on projects and then to understand globally in general where to place the small projects. Of course, small projects are not an end in themselves, but they belong to a broader picture that we have to clearly identify, and we have to avoid that small projects are left to themselves, so they have to be part of the entire governance. Governance is a guiding principle. Governance is very important in these programs. It's also fundamental in governing good partnerships. In this connection, let me draw your attention to the fact that during the management of the 1420 program, we have very often heard rumors regarding elements of conflict, delays, etc. Now, the governance of the lead partner is a fundamental element. So only those who can govern a project check can then measure the impact. This is the message that we've always given. It's very important. In the selection period, there will be a very good analysis of all of these elements. We have many partnerships. We are going through hard times, so we have to coordinate better. Also because Interreg projects is not the only thing that we as institutions are supposed to do. We also have other tasks. So these projects and the management thereof must be part of a global governance and global schedule. We have to program very properly. Majority of you are into this field and they know what I am talking about. Otherwise, we are fully at your disposal to help you and make you understand how to manage things properly. We would like to organize an event, a specific event, to launch the capitalization call. We are taking into account various options on the basis of what I've just said. That is, a small minor change to a document which then has an impact on all the rest. But we are working and we hope to finalize everything by October, the beginning of October. And then we'll decide what to do, if a format with physical presence or to organize it online. This will depend on the availability of people, location, etc. I think I've said it all, but of course I remain here with my colleague Chiara, available for points of clarifications or